film begins with a strange family. The woman in the family was even more strange than the family itself. When her daughter Alayla tells her that their bird has died, she abandons the bird and heads for a secret room in the basement. Entering the room, the woman's husband is terrified, and I think he deserves to be. The room they entered was a pyramid with a hidden door on its side. Upon entering, they discover a coffin thousands of years old. They open the coffin and find a mummy inside. Upon seeing the mummy, she begins chanting some more mantras, and suddenly the mummy awakens. As soon as she awakens, strange things begin to happen. The chain that had been used to tie the coffin, the chain and its hook, catch the woman's husband, and there her foreign mother is found. After all this, the scene cuts away, and we're introduced to another character, Charlie. Charlie loves his daughter very much. They're playing when Katie becomes deeply saddened by her doll breaking during her brother's experiment and decides to go play alone in the garden. The same strange lady we saw at the beginning of the movie calls her to the garden. She introduces herself as Lala's mother. Katie used to play with her daughter, Lala, every day. But it had been a while. Lala hadn't been here. She asks Lala's mother, "Where is Lala?" Her mother replies, "He is there too, but come to me today. I have something to give you and a magic show." She was sad at the time, so she goes to the woman. The woman first shows her 2 chicks, then gives her something to eat, and finally gives her an apple, saying, "Forgive me for the magic I'm about to perform." She then begins performing some strange incantations. She begins chanting mantras, and the woman holding the apple becomes even more strange. As soon as she takes a bite, a strange black insect emerges from inside and flies away. Despite all this, the woman refuses to stop chanting. Katie suffers immense pain and even faints. Afterward, the woman takes Katie and runs away. When Katie's father, Charlie, doesn't hear her voice, he goes looking for her, but she's nowhere to be found. He even goes to the market to look for her, and he spots a woman holding a baby girl, the same woman he saw earlier, who kidnapped his daughter and fled. He also starts running after his daughter, but suddenly a terrible storm hits, and they both disappear. Charlie desperately tries to find her, but neither he nor the police officers can find her. 4 years pass since Katie's disappearance, but Katie's mom and dad are unable to recover from this shock. We learn that they had another daughter just a few days after Katie's disappearance, but her presence didn't fill the void left by her. The scene cuts to a boy near a forest. Suddenly, he sees a plane crash behind him. When he reaches the crash site, he discovers that both pilots are dead. He becomes terrified and runs into the forest, only to discover a coffin identical to the one we saw at the beginning of the movie. He then informs the police officers about the coffin, and research begins on it. When it is opened, it turns out to be not a very old mummy, but a living being in the form of a mummy. When the bandages are removed, it is revealed that it was none other than Katie, who had been kept alive in the coffin for the past 4 years. When Katie's parents learn of this news, they rush to the hospital, where the doctors warn them not to react negatively to seeing Katie. Her skin has deteriorated significantly due to being in the coffin for 4 years, and her limbs have become twisted. However, any adverse reaction at this time could worsen her condition, and she needs extreme care. When Katie's mother sees her, she is devastated by her condition and embraces her. It turns out that the officer handling the case, Zaki, had previously devoted himself to finding Katie, and now he is on Katie's case. Shocked to see Katie's body molding like this, she comes to Katie's house to discuss the case again. She tells Katie's father that the coffin in which Katie was kept was about 400 or 500 years old, and that people often use old objects to hide their crimes. Her father tells her, "I will fully support you in this case. You must catch the man who did this to my daughter." She gives her hope that she will find the real culprits. The couple returns home with Katie, and as soon as they arrive, Katie's grandmother starts playing holy pranks on her. But this causes Katie to suffer unexplained consequences. Her body begins to contort in strange ways, and she makes strange noises. Kitty's mom, horrified by this, gives her an injection. It's here that we learn that Charlie and Gates' father was also a journalist and was very good at investigations. Gathering information from her friend, they begin to look into the case themselves and are left deeply confused as to who could have done this and what their motives might be. Meanwhile, we see Katie lovingly listening to Katie. When her director comes to check on her, they discover Katie is not in bed. They panic and search for her everywhere, only to find her hiding upstairs. She was running away from them, terrified. They tried to comfort her, but she ignored them, now pursuing her prey. She spotted a large Scorpio, which she grabbed and began to drive away. Seeing this, both Mom and Dad panic and try to pull the Scorpio out by putting their hands inside her mouth. Kitty vomits, but even this vomit isn't normal. A sticky green liquid comes out of her vomit, which is completely unnatural, and this terrifies them. The next day, Kitty's mom and grandma start bathing her. Her nails have grown as large as any entity. When Kitty's mom tries to cut them, it takes a lot of force. But despite all this, the nail doesn't come off. Instead, the skin on her foot comes along with it. Kitty's mom thinks Kitty must be in a lot of pain, but that's not the case. She didn't feel any pain. It's as if the pain has brought relief to her. She gets up from the wheelchair, knocks everything aside, and goes to the kitchen. She starts hurting her foot while being warmed up. When Katie's mom and grandmother go to stop him, he attacks them and flees. Thankfully, Charlie returns home just then. He manages to catch Katie and try to calm her down, even bandaging her leg himself. Unable to understand Katie's actions, Charlie tells his wife that they should leave Katie at the hospital for a few days. This only makes Katie's mom even more upset, and she goes, and deeply emotional, tries to talk to Katie. Katie hadn't spoken in days. She gets angry and shakes her, and Katie spits in her face. But even this doesn't anger Katie's mom, because at least Katie responded to something. Later that night, Katie's dad comes to visit her, and she breaks down in tears. He was apologizing to Kitty. He said, "What should I say that day? If I hadn't left you alone in the garden, you would have been with me today. You would have been perfectly fine. Everything that happened to you, the pain you've endured for so many years, is all because of me." At this point, we learn that Katie is able to speak, but she starts gnashing her teeth in a strange way. Her gnashing was very strange. Her dad remembers that as a child, she wanted to be a spy and always learned Morse code, and thus she's trying to tell him something through Morse code. He notes down all the Morse code, and when he decodes it, he discovers a name, Lalakalo. This could be a major lead in the case, so she immediately calls Saki and tells him about it. Now, who was Layla Kahlo? Saki tells Charlie, look, you know best about this. Was there a Layla in Kitty's life? A friend, an acquaintance, a teacher? Charlie, hearing this, goes upstairs to check all the letters he received after Kitty's disappearance. One of them was from Lala Kahlo, and on this letter was the same chocolate chip that the lady had given Katie that day. He remembers that the lady had told him she was Lala's mom, but Charlie and Katie don't know anything about it yet. Together, on the other side, we see Katie sensing a presence outside her room and realizing it's her little sister. She calls out to her in a very low voice, saying it was the first time she's ever spoken. Her sister, impressed, goes to her room. Molly, delighted, speaks to Kitty, saying, I'll go and tell Mom what you said. Kitty replies, no, not yet, or I'll surprise Mom. As she says this, she touches her foot from under the door, and Molly is terrified by the sight of her skin. When she tries to escape, we are shown that a strange power lifts her and pins her to the door. This power was actually inside someone else, not T. Meanwhile, we are shown that Sakai, too, had been working day and night on this case and had discovered many Layla Kahlos. While searching for Layla Kahlo, she reaches a Layla Kahlo who owned many apple-growing farms in the desert. She remembers that when Katie went missing, she found an apple she had eaten in the garden, meaning someone had fed her an apple. She immediately goes into those fields, and in the middle of the fields, she sees a house. This house was the same one we saw at the beginning of the movie. She enters this house. The condition of this house was very bad. She continues moving inside the house and eventually finds a secret door. Through it, she reaches the pyramid we saw as Moses. It has a hybrid design of a human skeleton and a spider, and the same chain around it. When she checks it, another secret door opens, leading to the basement. When she enters the secret bunker, she sees nothing. There's only a coffin storage space, the same one that was taken from there at the beginning of the movie. As soon as this bunker opens, Oren, who wasn't home at the time, becomes aware of the bunker's opening. She immediately rushes home, grabbing a knife and lunges at Zaki. But Zaki senses her presence and touches her to protect himself. Although she wanted to keep him alive because she had to investigate him, she had to confront him to save her own life. Before Zaki can do anything else, she sees another girl who, upon seeing Zaki, starts running away. Zaki catches her as she runs. We see that when the girl raises her hand, she's holding a box that had just been opened. Zaki holds the girl at gunpoint. When he opens the box, he finds a cassette with the name Katie. Zaki asks her, "Who is Layla Kahlo? You or that lady?" Zaki replies, "I am Layla Kahlo." We cut back to Katie, this time with her grandmother. She's reciting holy verses to her, trying to comfort her. This endears Katie immensely. She throws them out of her pocket and then begins strangling her with her own locket. Finally, she blows them out of the window. When Katie's mother arrives, after hearing the sound of a window breaking, she finds her mother dead after falling from the window. The sight of this shatters her heart. Meanwhile, we see Zachy, who, after receiving a major lead, has been trying to contact Charlie repeatedly. However, Charlie is busy with the funeral, so she can't connect. She then watches the video she received from Lala Khalil and sees it. For some unknown reason, she becomes so enraged that she begins to assault Layla. She asks Layla to tell her why she did this to that poor girl. She tries to speak, but Yala shows her tongue. Zachy didn't understand the language in the video. However, this girl understood the language, but couldn't translate it. So, Zachy tells her to write it all down on paper. Lala, who she could barely speak, barely able to tell Zachy in her slurred speech, "My mother, who has Louis, was behind all this. I found out the truth, and when I tried to tell everyone, she cut me off." Everyone now knew that Katie was the one behind everything that had happened. That's why Charlie had locked Katie's door 3 times, and even then, he remained outside Katie's door to prevent her from making any moves. Charlie's son appeared before them and told them to rest. "I'll sit here for a while." After Charlie left, Katie didn't let go of her brother, posing with her energy. The scene below shows that the furor wasn't over yet. The daughter had broken through the floor and descended, posing as her sister, Mooley. Mooley, who was posing as Mooley, approached her grandmother, opened her dead grandmother's mouth,